With the release of Counterattack Through the Fjord, the first of the Tribal-class destroyers are added into Azur Lane, the event joining the game with the second part of the naval tale around Narvik. The Norwegian campaign is one of the more interesting in the war, a tale that relates to HMS Eskimo, and while abridged here, should still be told. The battle for Norway should have ended before any German troops landed on Norwegian soil, with the Royal Navy descending upon the Kriegsmarine like sharks on a bleeding whale. Instead, luck allowed the Germans to land, but in turn, they left 10 destroyers holed up in the critical port of Narvik. This would spell doom to half of all Kriegsmarine destroyers. Before continuing, two things are important to note. The first is the general nature of the tribal-class destroyers. Descending from a light cruiser design, the tribals are effectively destroyer cruisers, or destroyers that are more like cruisers, yet are still an effective weapons system, an exceptional rarity in Europe. The tribals have one sole purpose: to set a torch to anything that is an enemy with their rapid-fire 4.7-inch guns. It also doesn't hurt that, in Europe, there really isn't a class of destroyer that's better than the tribals at this period. The second is how the crew, or in this case, the ships, view themselves in the Royal Navy. The destroyers consider themselves the elite force of the Royal Navy, with, as Dr. Clarke puts it, the tribals the guardians of the elite, the ones privileged with protecting that elite force, the best of the best, and they are out for blood. The Norwegian campaign has been hard on the destroyer forces, with HMS Gurkha, Hardy, Hunter, and Glowworm all lost in a short period of time. The tribals were itching for a fight to avenge their fallen sister and comrades. It just so happened that the Kriegsmarine had given them the sacrificial lambs. Trapped behind a larger naval force, 8 Zoroasters lay. Knowing those two factors helps understand the following Battle of Narvik. How does this relate to Eskimo? How do Counterattack Through the Fjord and Starry Sky over the Arctic Fjord relate to this? Simple. Starry Sky over the Arctic Fjord is the first naval battle of Narvik, where Hardy and Hunter are lost, while Counterattack Through the Fjord is the second naval battle. HMS Eskimo is one of 4 tribal-class destroyers, sent along with Warspite and 5 other destroyers to handle this threat. Within the following battle, which will get its own better video in the near future, 2 ships stand out, Cossack and Eskimo. During the battle, several German destroyers blockade themselves behind a block ship to keep the British from getting to them. Cossack took personal offense to that and rammed herself over and through the block ship to destroy the vessels. At the end of the battle, 4 German destroyers retreated further up a fjord, pursued by Eskimo, Forester, and other British destroyers. There was a curve in the fjord that the Germans had retreated down, and would require slowing of any ship to make the turn safely. Eskimo did slow down, but only enough to avoid slamming into the wall of the fjord, and increased speed after the danger had passed. As soon as Eskimo passed the bend, she opened fire on the German ships, disappearing from the sight of Forester and the following vessels. In that moment, only the second dumbest thing German destroyermen ever did occurred. As Eskimo rounded the bend, torpedoes were fired at her from a German ship. Eskimo dodged the first 4, but the 5th hit, blowing her bow off. All this did was create an unkillable force of pure destruction that would haunt the dreams of her enemies for the rest of their short lives. The loss of her bow was only a minor inconvenience for Eskimo, who flipped herself around, launching her torpedoes with continued gunfire, bringing all 3 of her surviving turrets to bear. Sailing backwards at an angle, Eskimo continued to advance. Only now did Forster and the other British destroyers round the bend. Forster asks if Eskimo wants to withdraw, to which Eskimo refuses. As such, Forster temporarily falls in behind Eskimo before overtaking her to lead the attack. The remaining German destroyers would be lost, some running aground so hard the ships would become unusable and could not be fixed. With that, the Second Naval Battle of Narvik ends in overwhelming British victory. Not a single British ship is lost, and a legend is created, waiting to be unleashed upon those who anger her. Eskimo survives her damage and gets a new bow. All in all, she survives the war on her 4th bow, the previous 2 being lost under the same captain as the first. So remember, the next time someone asks, this is not the face of mercy. Instead, this is a ball of pure, unstoppable, and unkillable destruction. She might be bubbly and energetic, but once angered, she will transform into a monster that cannot be stopped, all while maintaining composure and handle herself very well and in accordance with what command expects of her. So, this was not planned to be my first video, but given the appearance of the tribal class destroyers in CN and JP, I decided to change up my video order. My actual first video is about a British light cruiser class, and will appear within the next few weeks after the release of this video. After that, I plan on a Capitane Romane class video and maybe one or two others before I circle back around to Azur Lane. Those will be more historical, less Azur Lane related, but please check them out. For some more context and bits I left out of this video, because there's a lot about the Second Naval Battle of Narvik. It's a very interesting battle. Check the pinned comment, and for a better list of my sources, please check the description. So, until next time.